Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater, and the image on the screen right now is not one I'd ever thought I'd ever have to feature in a video. The Ben Swolo scene from Star Wars: The Last Jedi was just laughably bad. I still, to this day, months later, cannot quite figure out exactly why this particular part ended up in the film. However, when you listen to Mark Hamill's take on this whole particular set of events, the whole force connectivity that Rey and Kylo Ren had, it actually does make a little bit of sense. I'm not saying it's any better. I'm just saying it makes some sense. And yeah, so when talking in an interview about The Last Jedi and his thoughts on the film, as Mark Hamill has been doing quite a bit recently, one of the things that came up was the fact that Star Wars: The Last Jedi had the first sex scene in the franchise's history. Right, we're 9 films deep, almost 10 films deep into this franchise over the course of 40 years, and he says that the movie had a sex scene, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what? Where? Like, where did there? Where was there a sex scene? Had Rey gone with Kylo at the after the throne room scene? I'm pretty sure they would have just been smashing pelvises. It just would have been nonstop force fucking. Like, he would have been force pulling her hair. Everything that would have happened, and I'm pretty sure Rian Johnson would have shot it, and arguably could have made for a better overall experience. But no, that's not what happened. That never existed outside of just whatever slash fic Ryan is writing. But Mark goes on to explain. I said that according to Hamill, The Last Jedi featured something none of the other movies had, the first Star Wars sex scene, and he wasn't part of it. Talking about the sex scene where Rey and Kylo Ren almost touch hands while communicating using the Force, he says, I even said it to Ryan, when you have the fingers do this, that's the first sex scene in Star Wars. He says, I didn't even get to touch a finger. I would have loved to touch a finger, but I thought that was so odd because I didn't know if it was even said in the script, if it's even described in that way. But when I saw the screen, I thought, oh, I've got this charge. I went, wow, that's as erotic as Star Wars gets. Okay. First off, Star Wars and eroticism don't belong together, period. Listen, if you want to like fap to some Wookiees, or to be fair, a Twi'lek, I think anyone out there who's been like super into Star Wars, not me, but super into Star Wars has kind of maybe fapped it to a Twi'lek. Maybe you sit there and you watch Star Wars Rebels and you look at Hera and you're just like, yeah, Twi'lek with a mom complex. That's what gets me going. That puts the crystal in my lightsaber. anyway, anyway. But thinking of it like that was meant to be like a charged scene. And I get that. Like, I get that. That was them having a connection. That was them, after all the time they'd spent talking and how Snoke was manipulating it. Like, I get it. He was trying to force, pun intended, a connection between Rey and between Kylo. And that's kind of why the shirtless scene exists. It's to basically jumpstart Rey's oven. Pardon my verbiage, but it's true. That's the whole point. Like Rey was kind of like looking at, her and Finn obviously had a big how to do in the first movie. And they're just like, yeah, like, I like you, you kind of like me, but like we're just going separate directions. And then, like that never really happened. Neither did Finn and Poe. Sorry, Tumblr. But here, we know that they're going to be establishing a love triangle. Like, we know that. And so where she's attracted to Finn, probably because of his genuineness and the fact that he's a very nice, former stormtrooper, that she wants that bad boy. And of course, the bad boy shirtless with no belly button, because I don't know if that was a Disney thing or whatever, but that was still really, really weird. So we can kind of now see, at least based on what Mark is saying, that they were trying to establish that sexual energy, that sexual tension, right? The eroticism in a PG-13 Star Wars movie, eroticism that ultimately nobody wanted, right? Because like this scene where Kylo is all like turns around, she's like, oh my God, oh my God. I can't stop looking. Like that's not like it wasn't like Leia and Han butting heads and in Empire Strikes Back. It wasn't like their sexual chemistry coming through. It wasn't that at all. Like, they were building to the "I love you, I know." They were building to that in Empire Strikes Back. Here it's all like she sees him shirtless and, you know, she's just off, like, you know, double clicking in her hut. None of that even makes any sense to me. But overall, like, again, bad storytelling. But this is clearly, now we have an understanding of why this was in the movie, because this was a very large question when people were like watching it going, like, what the hell is going on? So then you get to the scene where they're in, you know, they're talking. They almost go to touch fingers. Luke comes in and kind of screws it up. You know, like how, you know how it is. Like you're getting ready to smash that. Your parents come in, they ruin the whole thing. I think we've all been there in a certain situation. But that wasn't the first sex scene. That wasn't even the first kiss. All things considered, Mark Hamill sitting there like, I never got to touch a finger. Dude, you kissed your sister twice. In the first two movies. Right? Like, she kisses you on the cheek for luck. Okay, great scene. And then to piss off Han, she kisses you in front of him. And you're just like, yeah. Yeah. She went all Cersei Lannister on me. Yeah. Like, that was more erotic. The "I love you, I know" was more erotic than that shit. I know Mark's being playful when he talks about this. I get it. But at the same time, I'm just laughing so hard when I'm trying to sit there and get in Rian Johnson's head and he's talking about that scene and he's trying to hit it from just like an emotional erotic angle. I looked at it as being like an emotional connection, not eroticism. If Mark Hamill saw eroticism in that, there must be more stuff on the cutting room floor. You know what I mean? Like, he must have come in and Kylo was just like tongue deep in either end. That must have been where he was at, but we'll never see that because Disney won't ever allow it. But that being said, apparently The Last Jedi had a sex scene. The most mildest, non-existent sex scene ever. This movie just continuously keeps on giving us something new to talk about. And sadly, not a lot of it is any good. But I want to know what you guys have to think about this. Let me know in the comments. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell, and check back often for more movie content from me. I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day. And if you want to see more, and I hope you do, you can do so right now.